Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Sorry I can't get through, but leave your name.
That's how you want to start the show off today. How was your week so
Yeah,
far? How's your
my
week?
week was great. I have a wonderful weekend planned. How about
Nice.
you?
I'm just quiet for me this weekend.
Quiet,
Quiet.
quiet,
Yeah.
working.
No, I actually get this weekend off, so I'm good.
That's what's up. Hello, Denise. Hello,
Hey, hey,
Mr. Roots. What's
hey,
up?
Miss Parker back.
Yes.
Denise.
Hey, Miss
Hey,
Parker.
Miss Parker.
Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to Juicy Talk. What's up? Hello, everyone. Cruz, my girl.
And everyone,
So,
that's first night. When it was just, hey, I want to say thank you for tuning in tonight. Thanks
yes.
for tuning in. You could have been doing something else, but you decided to watch our show, and we totally appreciate it. Thank you very
Totally.
much.
Thank you so very much.
And
And we
don't
got a
forget to
good show for you.
subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Good evening, Frida. Yes. I'm happy y'all are here
Absolutely.
early.
I know, right?
So we got some stuff coming up. We're actually in the works. We're trying to get together an event for us, sexy singles mix and mingle that we're
Yeah.
working on. We're trying to get that together by November. So keep your fingers crossed, keep your, you know, eyes open for details coming soon. It's going to be an amazing thing
Yes,
that
it
we're trying to
is.
get together.
Very much so.
Also, what else you got going on, Hardy?
Not really much.
You ain't got no events coming up?
No, it's some private events, like birthday
Okay.
parties. Had a last week, I had one of my good friends, Charles Johnson, 65th birthday. I was in the zone last week, man. I did every song,
You
just
was in
like
there like,
it was nice. It was a beautiful party. So shout out to Charles Johnson.
what's up? So, also, the Browns the move
Right,
to
they
Brook
moved.
Park.
Man, $2.4 billion.
Yeah,
We got people
yeah,
and we got people starving. Make it
yes,
make sense.
yes.
Got people
People
starving.
starving, but I
Right.
mean,
We got a 2.9 stadium.
yeah, we do. But I mean, hey, the Browns got to play somewhere, right? But it's also going to bring more revenue. I
To Brook
mean,
Park? Not to
to Brook
us.
Park, but also to Cuyahoga County, though,
Okay.
to the county as a whole.
Got
More
you.
people, we might get more concerts and different things like that,
Mhm.
which is a good thing. Can y'all hear us good out there? Somebody said the Guardians losing right now.
Browns gone. Cardinals.
My
Man, we got
dad turned 65 a few weeks ago. Happy birthday
oh,
to Mr. Roots, his
happy birthday.
father. Happy birthday to your father.
Nice.
So we're gonna get right into it. We have a great show planned for you guys today. Um, funny thing. So this is how this came about. And I'm gonna put the. I'm going to hold on a minute, you guys. I want to put something up. So the how this came about, Hardy, why don't you tell them how it came about?
Well, basically we kind of like we always got we talked about previously after last week's show,
Mhm.
and I called you and said, you know what, let's talk about how society has kind of mistreated us, and we got to talk about this classism we talked about,
Yeah,
and
racism.
oh man, all kind of isms. So we decided to take it another step further and come up with this today.
Yeah, well, Hardy had some passionate feelings about our social status as African Americans and just minorities in general.
Absolutely.
And we were having this discussion about, because we were talking about the political debate and we were talking about how during this debate, it seemed like this debate cycle, like racism is playing taking a
It's out front.
front, yeah, it's a front seat. It's front and center right now, it seems like. And we were talking about the different isms, racism, classism, institutional um, racism, and we were talking about, hey, Bocat. And we were talking about some of the systematic oppression that we are facing. And so we got into this debate. And so before we get started, I'm just curious, in today's society, I just want to know which one, like, just put it in the chat. How many of you feel like racism is a big issue or classism? And which one is more prevalent to you right now
What?
in our society? Is racism a big issue in our society, or classism? And if you don't know, classism is separation by economic status.
Mm, yes.
So just put
Hey,
R for racism in the chat, and C for classism. If you think it's it's, yeah. So I want you guys to just put in the chat racism being the biggest issue we face, or classism, which is the separation by economic status.
hey, Lou. Shout out to Lou.
What up, Luann?
Came on last week.
Welcome. So I just want to start because, we've been hearing a lot of different things about in the election. See,
A
okay,
couple of people
okay,
say classism.
okay, classism. Okay,
Yes.
that's good. That's good.
It's a draw. Somebody says a draw. Miss
Okay,
Parker says classism.
okay. So we got some different opinions. Classism,
Yeah. And we
right?
kind of talked about that before the show.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
we almost had actually before the show when we started talking about this whole thing. We start debate between each other. So
Mhm.
that it kind of now it's coming like full circle. Everyone is
Yeah.
saying the same thing. So it's good.
So it's very interesting that it seems like from the chat that a lot of people are saying that classism, separation by social and economic status, being the biggest issues that we face. But when you look at the election and the thing that they're talking about the most, you see that they're talking about racism and the separation between races. And, me and Hardy kind of had like this little debate about it,
Mhm.
and it was kind of really interesting. And share your perspective, Hardy.
Well, just we had how did we start? It was just talking about how things are not fair. How sometimes, well, a lot of times, how black black people are more likely to get pulled over by white cops. Um, we're spoken to differently. They don't appreciate our ideas. You can go to a meeting and you can say the same thing. I could say something, and a white person would say the exact same thing and get a
Response.
different response. But after I just said it, so it's crazy. So
So one of the things that we were talking about, that just about this thing about racism, and I was expressing to Hardy that, in my opinion, it seems like to me systematic racism and white supremacy doesn't care about class.
mm,
They don't. But so this is my theory. So when we were getting into it, and it was kind of like a really passionate conversation that we were having. But one of the things that I said is, like, from the beginning of time, like when you look at the Reconstruction period, one of the things that during Reconstruction there was no really big separation between black and white. Most of the Jim Crow laws and all that stuff happened after Reconstruction, and during the Reconstruction period, it was a lot of black and white people who were very much a part of the political changes at that time. And since that time, and during the time of Jim Crow, racism always was a catalyst that was used to separate the working class or the poor from the rich. It's a mechanism that has been used, in my opinion, throughout history. If you look at it, you'll see it. Back during slavery days, before slavery, when it was poor white people, and before Reconstruction, it was poor white people and poor black people living in the same neighborhood and having the same problems with, food shortages and problems with work and etc. And then you had minorities were dealing with that. And then you had, the richer upper echelon people who, were doing their own thing, making their money, and didn't really care. And it didn't
Mhm.
become an issue where people really care until, you know, the white poor and the black poor people started banding together and decided, like, hey, I'm going to, we have a problem and we want some fairness. We want more wages and more
Mhm.
money. And we want, they start complaining about these things. And what happened? The rich, powerful, elite people start making racism. They convinced the poor white man, gave him a position of power, and said, "Hey," because they were both working in the fields at one particular time. It was white, black, all kind of poor people. It didn't matter.
Mhm.
Indians, all kind of different, Hispanic, ethnic,
Ethnic
all kind of
backgrounds.
ethnicities were working in the fields at one particular time. But when they decided, like, if we can separate the poor people from coming together and working together
Mhm.
and asking for things like more wage, better wages, more fair work conditions, if we can keep them separated, and guess what, they'll never work together. So they instituted this thing of making the white poor citizen the overseer, or he would oversee, and it caused a power dynamic that is still in play today between minorities and white or black, or however you want to see it, white and colored
Mhm.
people, for melanated people, for a lack of a better term, because I hate to say it doesn't just stem to, nowadays we see that it's not just black people, it's black, it's Hispanic, it's Mexican, it's Dominican, it's like all people with melanated skin. And now, a lot of the immigrants are dealing with things where they're being discriminated against too. And so that's where this whole kind of conversation came about. And we
Mhm.
see it so much.
Shout out to my aunt. Hey, Karen. Thanks for tuning in. I think this is the first time she's clocked into the show. So
Hey,
welcome to the
Karen.
show. To kind of piggyback what you said, like a lot of things that I guess we go way back where at one time we can only drink out of black fountains and white fountains, and we're still not there yet. I feel like there's still a lot of discrimination, um, especially with our black women who are uh, facts show that there are more black women getting their
Masters.
masters, and they're not even getting
More
their due
educated.
respect. You know, they're not getting their due respect. So
Definitely not fair wages.
yeah, so that's from even from that's in sports, just professionally, and it's sad that we have to work even harder than our counterpartners, and we still have these issues.
Hmm. Okay. Delta said he does not feel like we should equate immigrants with black Americans.
Ooh,
Explain why.
yeah,
Let's
okay,
talk about it.
yeah, it's interesting.
Put it in the chat, or you could call in 216-245-3380. We love when you call.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I hear a lot of people say that we should not include immigrants in the issues with Black America. I feel like if we're looking at classism, right, which to me is the new way to segregate people, like when I look at, I'll just say this: when I have went to neighborhoods that are more affluent, right, and I'm in those cultures, black, white, it doesn't matter race. We all live in the same neighborhood. Our kids all go to school in the same areas, and we see each other the same way. And when you have money and power, like I'm sure that if when Elon Musk and Jay-Z and who else?
Michael
Benzo,
Jordan. We talked about Michael
Michael Jordan,
Jordan.
or what's his name, Benzo, are
Mhm.
all sitting at the table. They're all powerful because of their money, and they don't care. Hmm. Yes, let's speak on it. Hmm. So y'all quiet. But yeah, so I think that a lot of times when we see that, you know, we kind of like have there it's all about the money. Like they have access to the same.
Well, I just kind of not
Go
to
ahead.
interrupt you,
Mm-mm, that's
but
okay.
just let's take for like healthcare. It seemed like they have so much better healthcare than us. It seemed like they want to just constantly give us everything, these pills, constantly shove these pills down our throats. And there's some actually there's some um, um, medicines that we can kind of keep for ourselves that we don't really need those prescriptions, but they want to constantly put these pills in our system.
Oh, Delta Roots, I need you to call in. Okay, he says all immigrants, especially Africans, Caribbeans, and Latinos. And I really want to know your opinion. I want you to call in because, like, for me, everybody in the United States, or we're all immigrants. Like, everybody started off an immigrant here. There are no people that weren't immigrants. Some came willingly, and some came
Yeah,
not
I was
so
gonna say,
willingly.
yeah, some of us
But
came unwillingly.
that's up for debate too, because there's some different things that go along with that. But I will say that regardless, this is a melting pot of a whole lot of people who don't belong here, and people who have roots in other places. So if we're gonna talk negatively, or just I'm curious, I don't even know if it's negative. I don't even know if I understand what you're actually saying. But if we're gonna talk about immigrants, I mean, we should probably talk about it all. I mean, like everybody is an immigrant. We all are in some fashion,
Yeah,
form,
like you said, we are
fashion.
bowling. Yeah.
Let me see if I have it. Let me make sure I got this turned on. Oh, somebody is trying to call. Hold up. I think I don't have it on to take calls yet.
Mm.
My bad. Yes, he's calling in. All right, call back now.
I'm saying,
I know. Delta, call back now. I had it was locked, but it's open now. So you could call back. Delta, Mississippi. You could call back. Do you understand? So Ida said, do you understand that people from the Caribbean? Here we go. Okay, thank you for calling Juicy Talk.
How you doing? This is Delta Roots 36 calling from New Orleans.
hey, what's
Hey,
up, Delta?
can you guys hear Delta?
If you can hear Delta, please give us a Y for
Thumbs
yes.
up, thumbs up, or a Y for yes. Okay, go ahead, Delta.
Oh yeah, concerning earlier about our conversation in the chat, what I was saying is when it comes to other groups, they practice tribalism. Black Americans, we're the only group of people who doesn't do that. We include everybody, but we don't benefit from it. So now we got to delineate and say we Black Americans. I know I'm a Black American descendant of slaves because I'm from Mississippi, and my ancestors, from my mom's side and my dad's side, was in America for 300, 400 years. And for as the comment about we're immigrants, we're not. Some of us are indigenous. You have original Native Americans that were black. And then you have some of us who came over here not willingly, but was forced over here. So that's the difference from being a slave over here. That's why we had a 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment was supposed to keep us from being deported versus somebody from Mexico coming over here and having an anchor baby, and now they become a citizen. That's not what it's for. It's for descendants of slaves. You understand? So when it comes to us as Black Americans, descendants of slaves, we built this country. No other group have done it. No other group, no Chinese, no Mexican. I served in the Marine Corps. Black Americans are the only group, or the only ethnic group that have been in every war since the Civil War in America. No other nationality, no other group of people outside of white European Americans can say that. And we still been loyal to this country. We still fought for this country in World War One, World War Two, when we were still called niggas, and we still didn't get the GI Bill or a VA loan. and we still went through a whole lot, and we still serve our country, still did things for our country, still wanted to be in politics. So we're the foundation of this country. You understand? So no other group have claim to that title. So specifically, when you look at other like Haitians or Jamaicans, no, I love all of them. That's not to say that we against them, but they're proud of their culture. They come over here to America and wave their flags. They're proud, just like a Nigerian proud of. They might be from the Igbo tribe, or you might have somebody from Congolese. They proud of their culture, and they come over here. And when people come to America, they come for business. They not come to make friends. You understand? So everyone benefit off of us, the Civil Rights Act. Immigrants coming over here, people from like Indonesia, people from China, people from they come over here, benefit off of what our ancestors fought and died for. You understand? And we get nothing. So, reparations, when it comes to reparations, ask any person like a Nigerian doesn't get it. You understand? Because it's not race-based, it's based on lineage, it's based on status. So there's so much in this conversation I could deal with, but people like, for example, the issue, reason why I look at Caribbeans and Africans, because they can assimilate in our culture and look like us. When it comes to something like accomplishment, if they do something well, they gonna say, look, I'm Nigerian. Because if you notice, a lot of people, like when I was in the military, a woman was she was Jamaican, and I called her black, and a lot of times they deny, they'll say, I'm not black, I'm West Indies. You see what I'm saying? They love to denounce themselves. People want to be black when it's convenient for them. You get what I'm saying? So personally, I'm tired of the other cultures trying to piggyback on us. People come over here, they look, and believe it or not, they look down on Black Americans because it's easy to do it. A lot of people not all of them, but people from the continent of Africa, they come over here. Why they can't duplicate their success in their own homelands. And then I just experienced myself, and I'm telling you, if you go to Africa, they cool, but like it's a lot of tribalism, and we as Black Americans have the all inclusive. We love everybody. They haven't got us nowhere. Foreign immigrants come over here, they out succeed us. We should have businesses. We should have our own black cities. You got in Italy town. You got Little Italy. You got Jewish towns. You got every culture got their own little cities, but we don't. We got projects and hoods.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
So what do you say about?
Mexican,
So what do you say about? I mean, somebody said Puerto Ricans, also descendants of slaves, have served in every single war, and they are U.S. citizens as well. And most don't even receive, I think they say, the credit for it.
Puerto Ricans, United States of America.
Puerto Ricans they're U.S. citizens.
Hispanics, whoever said it, it was Black Americans. No other. I mean, it was. I don't know, with no Mexican, no Indian, no Chinese. It was black. It was foundational Black Americans, descendants of slaves. Okay, and then people want to take credit. Show me in the way of history. Show me the proof.
Well, I mean, we know we definitely know from history. You can say that, like if you like a lot of things are hidden from us when it comes to our history, but we do know that Puerto Ricans, I mean, the only difference, I mean, a lot of Puerto Ricans, are Black. When they do their genealogy, they find out they're from Nigerian, or they have other African descendant roots as well. Somebody said, "Let me in on the three-way." But I do understand what you're saying, just as far as Black people. I feel like we deserve reparations, right? Because of the many years that our ancestors worked and did not get paid for their blood, sweat, and tears and what they put into making this country great. However, I also we cannot negate the fact that working separately has not been working for us collectively, and we still are experiencing a lot of the same racial prejudiceness across the board. And it's not really, if you really look at it, it's the demographic of working class poor, or working poor, however you want to call it, and the rich elite. There is a defined separation between the two in everything when it comes to um, opportunities that are here for you. And you know, a lot of people in different countries, when you talk about they come here and they
Thrive.
thrive. I will say, I'll just use Mexicans for
For
an example. They do a lot of the jobs that a lot
mhm,
of other people don't want to do. I mean, if we just being real about it, we're not, I mean, you know, like
No,
domesticated.
no, no.
You don't agree with that?
Mm-mm. No, because you got to understand that you have people who come over here, Mexicans, people in Mexico, they have skills too. They mechanics, they're plumbers. They're not.
Absolutely.
These are not. You understand? These are not ignorant people. So if you have skills and trades, you come to America and you can underbid somebody else, an American who have a skill or trade. You understand? And then plus, what they could do, they could benefit because American currency is worth a whole lot compared to their country. So they can make money over here and send money back and build off that wealth to
mhm.
their families. Black Americans, where we gonna go?
You
But
know,
guess what? We already here. We're here. Um, we're already here. So how do you feel we make it better? Because it's a definite, we're not getting an advantage.
mhm.
It's not benefiting us.
You know, I
I
just
mean,
want
the only way is reparations,
yeah,
cash payments, tangibles. Because
oh,
if you look every other culture, you look at gas stations. Who own the gas stations? Is it Arabs?
mhm,
Like this ain't by mistake. And the government they help every other group, and then they tell us to pull ourselves by our bootstrap. So and then people who come over here, they already had an advantage because these people are not poor. A lot of these people got money in their own countries. They got so it's like it's just frustrating because it's just so much. It's so
It
much
is a
because
lot.
people look people look down on us, but we are ancestors that fought for this country. Everything the foundation. The White House was built by Black Americans. Matter of fact, Black people in America are the best in the world because our culture is transcended throughout the world. People follow we are trendsetters. Period. And people want to use us and piggyback on us. And the guy was talking about Puerto Rican, African, killed all that noise. I care less about none of those. I care about my people, descendants of slaves. Because Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, they don't claim to be black. They don't. I'm telling you, other people, Dominicans, Ethiopians. Oh, in Africa, the East Africans, the West Africans, it's crazy. For it is even in Nigeria, it's tribalism everywhere you go. So classism, matter of fact, Black Americans, we're the only ones who are not classism. We inclusive. If you talk about classism, go to India. They got all types of classism in India. Go to China. You understand? We're the only people in America. We are distinctly different from every other group because we are nice and loving and caring people, and we get taken advantage of because we don't have an actual nationality. That's why we saying, hey, we foundational Black Americans. This is our ethnicity, and we're delineated from all the other groups. Because without us, they should be thanking us because they want to be over here. Every other group should be thanking Black Americans because we're the foundation of this country.
I just
We
want to
build everything. We created R&B, blues, music. You
mhm,
understand the pork and all that nasty food we have in the South. We made it soul food. We made it a delicacy when it was trash food. That's what we do. And so that's why I want to stand up for my people, Black Americans, descendants of slaves, and you guys too. I got family in Milwaukee. I got family in Detroit. You understand? I got family. They migrated. They went up there to the north, but my family is originally from Mississippi, and that's who we are. But don't believe that everybody ain't from Africa. You had descendants. You had
Oh, we
Aboriginal
definitely know
people.
that.
Yeah, Aboriginal people in America that they don't tell you about. That's already over here.
Well, you also have black people that were in Spain too, that were
Yeah,
actually originally
yeah, yeah.
tribal black people. So are you saying that they don't deserve to have some type of equality here? Because a lot of them were here. Like it was just a separation because they were fighting to stay free. It was a
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about a lot of what you would call today's Mexicans, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they were they were first
Mexicans,
originally.
look,
They hold up. They
yeah,
were
yeah, but
first.
Mexicans, they,
Let me finish my thought. They were first settled in South Carolina, what we would call Geechee country, the Bayou, Louisiana, and then they were pushed further south because they were fighting. They were fighting to stay free and to not be and they were finding freedom. They were becoming made slaves here in the United States. But if they went further where Spain had control, then they were able to have a certain amount of freedoms that we weren't allowed to have, or black people weren't allowed to have. So that's a lot. It's a whole black culture that are really descendants of Louisiana, Mississippi. So are you saying that you don't feel
Is
like
that part of
they
Creole?
were already here? So are you saying that they don't deserve the same seat at the table because we were pretty much stuck? I mean,
The
because
ones
we know for a fact that all African Americans were not descendants of Africa. We know it was a whole lot of, melanated African people that were already here. We know through DNA that every culture originated from an African woman. These are things that we know for fact, right? So are you saying that they should not, like, they should, like, and everybody here, this whole melting pot of today are people from everywhere. Are you saying that should?
with Mexicans and people from Mexico. Oh, you finished, my bad.
I'm finished. Yeah, I was done.
Okay, my bad. I didn't want to interrupt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and people from Mexico, Mexicans or Mexicans or whatever, they got money. They sold their land. You understand? So when they sold their land, and I got to look up the history, but when they sold their land and got their money, they was happy they left. Then the United States created their own territory. So now the descendants of slaves who were Black Americans, right? Those are the ones who should get reparations. The government, they know who was descendants of slaves. They have the census. They have the records. You know, they very methodical. They have all the information. So should a Jamaican get reparations in the United States? No, they got to take that up with Britain.
Oh no! I mean, no, I'm not saying that, and I do agree with you on that. I'm just saying, like, the people who were foundationally here and are descendants of, slaves. I'm not saying that they don't deserve reparations. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, we talked about a lot of different things, and one of the things you said that we don't have it easy coming here. We don't have the same opportunities to make it big, and to get loans and different things like that, right? But if you really think about it, in the 70s and 80s, it was a lot of black owned businesses. Now there were some systematic laws put in place, which redlining, different things like that, that stop black people from being able to get loans from banks. We were turned down for loans, but we did have businesses and we could not keep up. And so what we did was we started selling our businesses off. That is true. A lot of us sold our businesses because when I was growing up, I grew up in the area that I grew up in, right? I would say that it was plenty of black owned businesses. It was barbershops, dry cleaners, gas stations, corner stores. It was plenty of black businesses everywhere. And those black businesses ultimately end up selling their stores to other ethnicities. And that was the whole thing too.
I just want to say one thing real quick. We always talk about these reparations. I think we need reparations as well, but I think what we need more than anything, we need to get our land back. We need land because when you have land, you can use your land to grow things, which you can sell things with land, and more banks, lower, much lower interest on banks. That's what we need for our, for our black people, along with the reparation. But I really think we really need our land. Land is so important to any culture, any ethnicity group. Yeah.
I do, no problem. I do agree with you. I feel like we definitely could benefit from having our own land. Not only that, like, it was a big thing. I don't know if you know, on the news where it was I think it was like in, I know it was like in South Carolina or somewhere along there. Um, it was some people that they was able to prove, it was a group of people, and they were able to prove that their land was stolen from them, and they got their land back, but they couldn't do nothing. The laws were tied them up so much that they could not. And it was like, it's like premier beachfront like land, right? And were they really could not do anything on this land but sell it. And so they end up selling the land and making like a lot of money off some money off of it. And they split it between each other because they were able to actually prove that this land was stolen from them. But I think that, and I do think land is important, because when you have land, you can do things like rent your land out, have them, buy, purchase, rent your land and build things on it, and lease your land out,
Mhm.
which generates income. It's a
Right.
lot of different things that you can do from that too. But um yeah, somebody agrees with you. We definitely need land.
Mhm.
And and I just want to remind people, like, even when we did have a lot of black owned businesses, even when we did have a lot of doctors, black doctors and banks, a whole neighborhoods that were all rich in blackness and wealthy entrepreneur black people, things like in Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Black Wall
things like
Street.
that happen. So we have to change the system in order for things to be better for us overall. And I just feel like, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I feel like, yes, we culturally, I think that in numbers, we we would do better. Like, if we stop look if because we focus on, like, even just now in this conversation, right? We have people in all different ethnicities that watch the podcast, right? And so, just even in the podcast, right, just right now in this conversation, you have separated the black people from the Hispanic people, right? Or Mexican or whatever. And if we all came together collectively, because we're all the working class, if we came together and made it equal amongst us when it comes to um, taxes, and I mean, because like the working class people, we pay the majority of the taxes. We're heavily taxed. If you a business owner or you an entrepreneur, you get all the taxes is created for you, because you get all of these different incentives. But you're the working class people. But we don't do that. So, like, even right now in the election, you have people are separated. We know who we dealing with, right? We know this person is really about the money. I wouldn't even say that he's really about race. He's using that as a tool to get his message out and to get people who don't understand what's happening to vote for him. But when we look at it, it's men who are saying, like, they would not vote for a woman. They don't care who it is, because they just feel like women don't deserve a seat at the table. But you look at their mother, who raised them as a single parent, who paid bills, bought a house, put them through college. I just feel like we have so much separation amongst us, and it's causing issues, and we're not paying attention to the biggest issue at hand, and that's the separation of income, money, taxes.
I just want to go back to, we had talked about Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma,
Mhm.
and they had talked about, the young man mentioned about pulling ourselves up by the bootstraps. And when we did do that, what did the government do? The government shot it down, killed all the people, and it's so crazy how things happen. Like, there's a lot of you hear a lot of little different stories. There's so many cities that's underwater that we don't know about, the different
New
floodings, and
York.
it's just
Mhm.
so, like, and it's all, I just understand. I guess it's just like she said at the beginning of the show. It hurts me to the core knowing that we, as black people, have tried and tried to make a better life for ourselves and our family. And every time we get opportunity, we always get, like, stabbed in the back. We get these higher interest rates. Yeah, I talked about they only want to sell to a certain area, red lighting that you had talked about.
Mhm.
And it's so sad that, what happened to, like, you know, everyone's everyone is equal. That's not true. We're not equal, and it's so sad, and it hurts my heart that we're constantly treated so bad. But we also sometimes we bring it on ourselves too, because we have to talk about these black businesses, and sometimes we rob from our own people. We have a high number in black on black crime, and I sometimes, even me as a male, I see a group of black guys, I'm a little intimidated by that, and we shouldn't feel that way around our own people. The world beats us. The world beats us up as a man. I'm only speaking from male's perspective. That the world beats us up every day. I don't know if I'm gonna come home every day. I call people, hey, how you doing? And it's just, I don't know if I'm gonna come home. If I'm gonna get stopped by the police, if I make a wrong move, if I don't follow his directions, step out the car. Why do I need to step out the car, officer? It's now it's a problem. Now you see another police officer. You see all these flashing lights over something as maybe as simple as a tail light being out. So now we have these problems, and it's just, and then we have these youth problems in our community. Some of these kids are, um, have these different role models, like these drug dealers. And they don't have like, uh, I know we had like back in the day, we had teachers, we had principals, uh, we had people that own businesses. I know we had Mr. Gibson's been in. I live in Ward One. Mr. Gibson's been He's been our tire person for a very long time. We used to have like a lot of Hot Sauce Williams and places like
Mhm.
that, striving businesses. You don't even see those kind of businesses anymore in Cleveland. So it hurts me bad that we as a people can't stick together. Uh, but it's sad to me.
Thank you, Delta, for calling.
Okay.
Did you want to say something to that?
Uh, yeah, and he's on point. It's so much I want to unpack what you said about Kamala Harris, but the time.
Go ahead. You can
Let other
speak
people
on
call
it.
it.
Yeah,
Go,
go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go
I'm
ahead and speak on it.
Well, about the Vice President Kamala Harris, I think brothers don't. Uh, brothers is like, if they don't vote for her, it's not because she's a woman. I think that's insulting. Because I haven't heard any brothers say, "Oh, I ain't gonna vote for her because she's a woman."
Oh, I
I
have.
think because
I have.
oh yeah,
I've heard a lot. I've heard it a
okay,
lot. I mean, just on the internet, everywhere, people have been talking about it a lot. And just the rumors, I mean, that has been spread about her as well. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. I mean, me personally, I'm done with the Democratic Party because they failed
Ooh,
us, and we're not gonna get
I
no
heard a lot of
answers
people.
from them, and we can't. I'm under 40, so the people who vote Democratic are people 60 or 50 and above, or 55 and above, and the younger folks. And as you get younger, there's like we're not from the civil rights generation. You have to earn our vote. And Kamala Harris, I think she panders towards us. She's not a sister. She's not a black woman. She might be melanated, but she grew up with an Indian mother. You understand? And she talking about she put collard greens in the bathtub. Come on now. I mean, so it just but hey, and I don't believe in sisters should. And that's another conversation. I don't believe sisters should just say, "Oh, she a black woman," because that's what we do. Oh, you black. You got a little melanin. You black. Just like with Meghan Markle. Oh, you a black woman. But that's a whole other conversation. I don't think we should one drop rule everybody. You understand? Just because she went to the HBCU, because if Rachel Dolezal,
And
she
HCU,
black, she
and,
went to HBCU. So
She did go to
you
a
know,
HBCU.
and it's so crazy
But
about
aren't we
those
with our
schools. About those
experiences?
schools, they're not even really like black people. A lot of those are named from black people, white people. Think
I mean,
about it.
the schools might have been named by black people, but the
Wha-
institution itself, and they might have been even money been allocated from white sources. But I'm not going to take away from the fact that the experience is still HBCU experience. I will say
yeah,
that
yeah,
as far as her being a black woman, I think that it's unfortunate that we do not take into account all of the parts of who we are as people. I am
yeah,
a black woman. I identify as a black woman, but I have so many different parts to who I am racially. My parents are biracial. They come from biracial parents. My grandparents were biracial. I have white, Irish, I have Irish, descent, French, African, direct descendants. My grandparents that I remember that were all different ethnicities and races. And that does not take away from my experience as a Black woman in this world. I think that when people look at Kamala Harris, they see a Black woman. Period. I mean, if she go out,
So why we do that though?
but is she not though?
Why?
But I mean, her
No,
father
but
is Black. I mean, do you know who her father? Like, you have to know who her father was. He was Black.
her father is an Indian Jamaican.
Is he Indian because he was born there, but he was Black?
No,
His
his
skin color.
nationality. It's like,
Have you
if
seen
I-
a picture
if
of
I-
her
if I have a
father?
son- Yeah, but okay, listen. Here's the thing, right? When we say Black, I'm talking about Black Americans. I'm talking about that ethnicity. Black is, if you ask somebody from Somalia, are you Black? They gonna say no. Ask anybody else. If you go to Egyptian, ask them if they Black, they gonna say no. You understand? That's a term that Americans use. He's an Indian that lived in Jamaica, but Jamaica is a nationality. It's not really a race. You understand? Because you could be Indian
agree.
Jamaican, you could be Chinese Jamaican. You understand? And so I want to piggyback what you said about I'm mixed and all that, because why would you can't say we Black Americans, we Negroes, we just who we are. We descendants of slaves. We gotta say my parents are mixed. I always been proud of who I am. I don't care if my great grandmother raped or whatnot. I know I'm a nigga. I know who I am. And so a lot of times, we gotta say who we are. We because the world don't see you as biracial. They see you as being who you are. A sister, a Negro, African American woman. And so that's my whole thing. And then with Poppy's last name, Donald Trump, he supported Kamala Harris. He supported Hillary Clinton. He's a businessman. It's about interest. It's about money. It doesn't matter really who's in politics, because it's about interest. You understand? So it's a game we playing. And so we have to try to, as a people collectively, use our vote to get tangibles, get something in return, not just vote one way and they're going to take advantage of it. That's my whole point.
All right. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
All right, you too.
All right, bye-bye.
That's a lot.
That was a lot, but I will say that,
Respect what he says, though.
I definitely respect his opinion. I mean, and we all have them. Hey, Michael, I will say that, when it comes to, I just because you are many different colors or Northern Africans do not use term Black. They are of Arab descent. There are 1.2 billion Blacks in the world. That's why more than that is why more than African Americans are in the US. I agree. And you know what? This is the thing. You can take a person like my grandfather, he was from Ghana. He was not a slave, and he didn't come over here as a slave. He came over here as a free man, and he was Ghanaian. And I just, in my opinion, like, there's so many different ways. But if they would have told him that he should have went back, I wouldn't be here right now, And he came over here. He was successful. He bought a farm. He did all the different things that he had opportunities to do, and which is the reason why I'm here. It doesn't take away from the fact that I still identify as a Black woman because of my experience here in this culture. That doesn't mean I have to deny the other aspects of who I am. I'm just saying. Just my 2 cents on it. And I just feel like when it comes to, I don't understand. Like, I think that I do agree with you, Delta Roots, that Trump is a businessman, and for him, it's about money. I definitely agree with that. But I also feel like we have to not just look at, the money aspect and what they're going to do when it comes to the money and the things that are in place where it comes to the Constitution. And, we got the House and we got the House of Representatives and the Senate. When we look at that in Congress and all, it's only so much that's going to get done, right?
Mhm.
Because of that whole play and how that plays out. But when I think about the racism that Donald Trump is the racist, that he's bringing out of the woodwork that are strictly voting for him because in their belief in their mindset they feel like he's going to raise up this white political machine. And that, it was a black man. I don't know if y'all heard about it. It was talked about that was at a Magna rally with his Make America Great Again hat on, and he was beat up by a whole bunch of white people at the rally. Why? And I guess they taught him a lesson. Yes, thank you, Delta. We always appreciate your call, and we thank you for being a member of this show. Yeah, and you're right. All money is not good money, and so he's the people that he's bringing out is the problem. The people that he's empowering, he's going to go sit in the white. If he wins, he'll go sit in the White House, and he'll make sure that he make tax breaks for his friends and the
His
upper
colleagues.
elite echelon of people. He's going to save them money, and some of it may trickle down to us and benefits as far as more job opportunities and some things like that. But the racist people that he is empowering is going to cause such a big problem. We saw racist people coming out of the woodworks when he was in office. We saw more crime against black people, like just as far as like the police and getting away with it. Racists that were police officers that were just blatantly getting away with the things that they were doing to African American people. And we just tired of it. Somewhere along the line, we have to come together as human beings to make things better for our children. One of the things that you said, Delta, that was very true is that our kids, my kids, my daughter, I say in particular, her experience is she's only pretty much her first president was a black man. So for her, it makes sense for any job opportunity to be black, white, or whatever. It doesn't matter because she's 16 years old and her first understanding of a president was a black man. And so because of that, a fun fact, he said, because of that, I just feel like that generation, they do look at the world as, hey, we're not a part of that. And we want to look at real social issues, real problems. And they're not going to have the hangups that most of us have as long as we don't keep those institutions in place. We shouldn't be fighting against racism today. This shouldn't be an issue in a conversation we should have. We should have a bigger issue at this time.
What's bigger than racism, though?
That's what I'm saying is classism to me is bigger than racism. The separation of the power that comes with money and class. To me, that's the biggest thing. And Delta said a fun fact: racially Hispanic are classified as white, not blacks. That's not true. There's white and black Hispanics, and they'll tell you themselves. I know plenty of people who are Hispanics that classify themselves as black. And Dominicans are, it's a lot of Dominican people that classify themselves as black. All right, I think we got another caller. Thank you for calling, Juicy Talk. State your name.
Hi, this is Bocat.
Hey, what's up,
Hey,
okay?
state your name, age, and where you calling from.
53, Maryland.
Hey,
Okay.
thank you. Bocat, what's up?
What's on your mind?
Hey, so hey there.
Hey, what's up,
Hey.
I'm
okay?
on the line. I'm telling you, Delta had my hair on my back standing up, my peach fuzz.
Hey, why is that? What did he say that got you all like that?
I think he dropped a lot of gems, but I also think hurt people, and not saying specifically that he is hurting, but as a group, as an African Americans, we cannot like dismiss the fact that we have gone through the most horrible
Yes.
form of slavery in the world, right?
Absolutely.
And to ignore that we are still dealing with the aftermath of that would be like very foolish, right? So when I hear things like exclude immigrants and all of that kind of stuff, that's literally mimicking what we've been taught,
Absolutely.
right? So, and we can't do that. So, like, I wanted to just read this quote because this is something that I keep in the forefront in my life, and it's by William Durant, and he is a author, philosopher. He's dead now, well known in terms of understanding civilization. So this quote is: it says, "The present is the past rolled up for action, and the past is the present unrolled for understanding." And so if you really break that down, what it really is saying is that those things that we've gone through in the past, right, that's really our present. Because all you have to do is look back historically and see how we were actually operating 400 years ago or whatever, 30 years ago, 60 years ago, or whatever. And then say to yourself today, what can you do in terms of that past? What can you do in terms of doing something today differently? Right? So we can't mimic the past, right? It's supposed to, we take the past and we actually do something different with it so we can get a better outcome.
Absolutely.
So we cannot be divisive. It's absolutely old thinking to actually think that way. The second thing I want to say is also, I do agree that we do need to think about ourselves collectively and also look inwardly, just as our community, what can we do to prosper ourselves? And I think it's just, it's unfortunate that we have not heard these types of conversations enough, like we do other conversations. But if you think about us collectively, we can't look at any other culture or race to fix us and to fix our problems.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
we
We have
shouldn't
to take
expect it.
accountability. We have to take accountability of what we can do. And so, very simply, right, we need to stop looking at color. Color is a made up thing. It's a divisive thing.
Absolutely.
We're all humans, right? And then we need to stop measuring ourselves to other people. Stop measuring ourselves to white people, Hispanics. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant, right? And so when we think about it that way and say, and then we got all these myths, right? So when I hear things like Blacks built this country, that's not true. Blacks worked a very, very long time for free, which was insane. And we do deserve reparations, not in the form of cash. We deserve reparations in the form of everything that we were refused: education, health,
Land.
and some of the other lasting things, land. But even with that, though, right, like just like match the 400 years, right, for generations, free education, free health. It'll be a come up just with education, right? But that's just really what I wanted to say is like, we need to stop measuring. We're looking at ourselves from a different perspective, which this is 2024 and it's outdated. We don't have time to continue to go backwards. What can we do like right now? Right? Some of us have not even read a book in like 20 years. Why?
Speak on it.
Right? That's not the white man's fault. If you don't
Speak on
understand the system. If you don't understand the system, if you're not going to invest in yourself to learn this system, but be mad at immigrants that understand that once they get over here, they can prosper and make money. You know, I speak with a lot of immigrants and I learn from them because it makes me appreciate the opportunity we have. And I'm going to say this last thing. So with my children, right? They're all grown. Youngest is 22. When I was raising them, I would say, you need to work like you are an immigrant. And what that means is when those people actually seek to get over here, they understand that this is the best, even with all the crap that we deal with, this is the best place for you to prosper and work the system, and that is really colorless. There's only one color, and that's green.
That's green. Say it. That's
So,
what I say.
That's all I have to say is like we just have to be more forward in our thinking and make sure our children they understand the system. And the system is not whining about what your past is. The system is actually looking at your past like it's unrolled and doing something about it, like that quote say.
I just want to say one thing, and I mean to interrupt you, but we don't want to. One thing we don't want to do is repeat the past, though. We have to keep it. We don't want to repeat that, because if we do that, we'll be in that same rut, even though we're still in that rut. But it's just.
Well, we will repeat the past if we have the same mentality as white America. If we take on that same mentality as white America of separation and sending immigrants back, they don't need to be here, then we're taking on that same attitude and that same approach. And we already saw where it got us, nowhere. And so I do agree with you on that. And I also agree, what did he say? I do agree with you when you say work like an immigrant. One of the things that when I talk, because I work with the immigrants daily, right? And when I talk to the immigrants in this country that come here from this country, what we really don't understand is we don't understand how it is to grow up with bombs going off over your head, or really a whole militia outside. And I'm talking about Africans.
We do.
No, we have not. I have not had to worry about
like Chicago. What's the difference?
We have not had to worry about armed people kicking in my door.
Chicago
is not dealing with armed people kicking in their door and taking over their home and saying, "Now this is mine." We're not dealing with people with no recourse. Like we're not dealing with people where you go outside and your as a kid, you don't know if your parents get bombed, a bomb is dropped over your head. We're not dealing with that. And some of those people that is their reality.
Then what is our reality though? What is our reality though?
I'm not saying that our reality is not truthful, and I'm not saying that we're not going through anything. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is the drive to make it, to do it, to accomplish things, when you have an opportunity in front of you, it's not the same. We don't have it's not the same. No, it's just not the same.
I think we have I do think we have a lot of issues to deal with, but
we do have the drive though.
Like we're not taking advantage as a people. We're not taking advantage.
We're not afforded the same opportunities though. We're not afforded.
We are though.
We're not. We're really not.
We can go to school. We can get an education.
We can go to school. I said this the other day, I think. There's not even let's say you got bad credit, okay? Someone has bad credit, right? And they can't get a loan, right? Someone may say, well, it's the white man, I can't get a house. No, it's not the white man. You haven't paid your bills. That's why you can't afford it. That's why you can't get a house. However, there is no credit check for undergraduate education. You can get up to almost $60,000 to go to school. Where are you going to get that at? You can get $138,000 lent to you to get your master's. Where are you going to get that at? It doesn't exist. So it's I'm not saying education is for everybody or college is for everybody, but education is for everybody. But you can get free education if you want to.
But understand this.
And how?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, to me, you got to think about if you're oppressed. We have been oppressed, right? We have to think about how can I move forward? And so if you got $138,000 sitting over here and a 60 over there,
Mhm.
right, and you don't have any other thing else that you can think about, why wouldn't you pursue it that way?
But
That's all I'm saying. It's
but-
like you gotta just
But
I don't know.
what they've
I
done,
agree
but
with that.
but also what they have done, they took out like it used to be you can go to
Shops,
you go to school,
get a trade in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they don't even have that in school anymore. Everybody's not college bound. You know what I'm saying? There's some people that are very good with their hands. They can go to school to become a chef, become a mechanic, someone a welder. All those schools don't even exist. When I went to school back in the '80s, I know John F. Kennedy offered a mechanic school and
Shop
um,
class.
shop class. Max
Mhm.
Hayes had you want to go to
Woodwork.
school. Yeah. So they taking all that out of the school system, and we need to bring that back. I mean, some people that's how they make their living, and there's people that make good money doing those kind of trades.
Absolutely. And to me, that's what's really important. It's like the trade, it could be any type of education. But if you look at the time that we scroll on the social media, we literally can have a PhD. I mean,
Mhm.
just think of the time scrolling, just being consumed by a lot of nothing, right? But we won't invest in ourselves to move beyond our situation. Not all of us. I'm saying collectively as a group. When you look at the numbers, when I say we, that's what I'm talking about. I'm
Mhm.
talking about the disparity between Black households in terms of wealth compared to white households. It's like $240,000 difference.
But and I
That's
mean,
insane.
And a
But-
lot of some of that is our inability to work together collectively, right? It's just the truth. Like, and it even goes back to relationships, like a lot of and how we view relationships. And I talk about this very candidly, and I have previously about, when white Americans get married, they encourage their children to get married when they're young and to go to school and build together and pay off credit cards and purchase homes. And so about the time they're in their 40s and when they want to split up, they tell them no, you stick it in there. This is your family. It's looked on as something that you shouldn't do. And because of that, they are creating generational
and
wealth.
that's the problem,
And
right? But that's the
and
problem. We
and
don't have
us
that in our
and
community.
us and what we do
We don't have
is
that.
when our young and if a white male get a white girl pregnant, her daddy like, you got to marry her, you better marry him, y'all got to get married, and now y'all got to stick it out. In Black America, we tell our sons, you ain't got to be with her because she had your baby. It ain't no big deal. Let her go ahead on about her big. No, I don't care. She got an attitude because she wants your son to grow up and be a man. We coddle them. We do all kind of things, and we don't encourage our young couples to get married. We tell our kids all the time, 21, 22, she too young to get married. He too young to get married. Why do we say that? When they still making the babies, they still being together, they still doing it. Why are we not creating family structures amongst our people and telling them to stay together and then culturally getting behind them and saying, y'all can make it, y'all can go, y'all can get through it together. I'm gonna show, we're gonna talk. No, y'all gotta work this out. Come sit in my house, go back home to your wife, do the right thing. We don't do that collectively. We soon as that son be like, she made me mad. She did whatever. You ain't got to deal with that. We don't support that. And that's why we don't have the mindset of working together. We're divided. We are divided.
We're so divided, and I hope we change. It starts with us. I see Delta Root had one question I wanted, or comment I wanted to address in the comments, where he says no cash payments, reparations. Yes, I don't believe that we should have cash payment reparations because one, we don't have collectively, we as a community have not demonstrated that we even understand the system in terms of capitalism and financial. We just gonna blow it and spend it on things that are frivolous and not gonna make any difference in our lives. So I believe we should have the equivalent of cash, but not cash. So education,
I say
free health care, housing, you name it. But
well, I don't agree with that part. I don't agree with that because I feel like give me the money and let me make the decision on what I want to do with it. Give it to me and see what I do with it. Because maybe some people will spend it on whatever, but some of us will build and grow and learn and do something amazing with it. And I feel like we should be afforded the opportunity. And
Yeah.
period. Like nobody should make that decision on what I should do with the reparations from my family, my forefathers, and the people and what they've been through. Nobody should make that decision for me because they didn't make it for the Holocaust survivors. They didn't make it for them. They gave them their reparations and let them grow and build and create from it. And so I mean, and I just feel like if we were afforded the opportunity, it's a whole lot of us who have the right mentality. For every five of us who don't, it's 10 of us that do. And maybe we won't just work by ourselves. Maybe we'll get with the Africans from Nigeria or from Ghana and our brothers and sisters in other countries or from Mexico, from Panama, from the DR, and we'll get together and maybe we will come together, and do better. So I'm saying, let me make that decision for myself.
But it's really weird to me, and it's not really weird, but we're the African Americans. We are the most consumers of products. But
We are.
I don't understand how. But they said we're poor. But how can we be one of the giant consumers of everything?
Because we don't invest in the things that we should,
That's
like
why I said no
education.
cash.
But
Right.
it's because we don't invest. It's because we don't invest in the things
we
that
can
we
dive into
should.
Like
And
billions of dollars.
and what we
cash
do.
equivalent. Give me stock. Give me
Land.
No, I
Give me land.
I will take some stock.
Years.
I want
I will
land.
take some stock.
Because you're gonna send me $10,000. It's gonna go to smoke. But if you give me stock in companies and you give every generation after me for 400 years housing, healthcare, it's gonna be way more, right?
Mhm.
But just cash, I'm looking at it as look at what is being done collectively with the trillion of dollars. I think it's like $1.2 trillion that we have.
Mhm.
Like, what do we have? I mean, look at it like that close. Like, look at the past. It's unrolled for us to do something about it. What are we doing about it? Right? So
I say, let me make that decision for myself and collectively figure it out for myself because I feel like, it will be some people that spend it all and do the wrong thing with it,
Mhm.
but it'll be a whole lot of people that come together and do something great with it. And I just think that I do agree with what you're saying. I on some aspects, just as far as how we have not been investing in ourselves. But I would say that when you talk about the money that we spend in the economy, making other people rich, buying things, goods, or whatever. We've always it comes from a place of wanting to be accepted,
You're right.
from wanting to have something substantial and not having the opportunity to have it. I have worked with a lot of different people and a lot of these young kids, when I talk to them, they just want something that look like everybody else. And it's also part of the systematic oppression when they show you, and what they show you, they want you to be focused on uh the flashy jewelry and the nice clothes and the nice car. They want you to be focused on that because if they wanted you to focus on something different, they would be teaching you how to invest in stock in high school. They will be teaching you how to balance how to keep your credit score high in high school and about FICO scores. They'll be talking about those different type of things in high school, but they're not talking about that. And it's a reason why, because they don't want you to have the equality in the
That's your counterpart.
They don't want you to have the education behind it to help you do better in life. They want you to keep buying and they want you to keep going to work. Like that is what this system is built on. If you learn how to make money and work for you and to invest, then guess what? We'll be sitting at how would that look for the people who are rich? Would it look like equality across the board? So of course they don't want to teach that. But that's why we have to do better about, like you said, picking up a book and reading about that.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
the educational system for sure is trash because
It
they're
really
not
is.
teaching you what
You
you
really
really
need to
need in
know,
the
right?
world to make it and survive.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so what are we doing about that? But we also got to talk about the how we don't send our kids to school, how we would rather buy our kids $200 um
Tennis shoes.
tennis shoes than make sure that we buy them a $200 you know laptop. You know what I'm saying? Or iPad so they can do their homework,
Mhm.
so they can have
Mhm.
access to the technology that they need to stay ahead of the game. You know, and I mean, it's so many different things that we can go on with that, but we have to also take charge. And it's by having conversations like this, by going back and helping other people, by when you see a kid or a family member in your own family who parents may not see the importance of education, and you do, that you encourage those kids how to do it. It's a lot of kids that want to go to college. I talked to a young girl not too long ago who had a scholarship to go to college, full ride. You know why she didn't go? Because she didn't have anybody to take her to Ohio State. And not one person in her life took the time to, I'm sorry, it wasn't Ohio. It wasn't Ohio State. It was Central State. She didn't have not one person in her life to just take her to the school, to take her there, you know? And so she ended up losing her scholarship because she really didn't know how to ask for help. Like these are the things that we're losing our kids who have all the potential to be great in this world because we don't take our time out to really help other people who really need it. It's not my problem. It's not my issue. I'm
But
not
it
going to
affects
deal
the
with it.
community,
But
though.
it
It really affects the
it
community,
affects
though.
us directly.
It really
Yeah, it
does.
does. You guys are doing a great job, though. So thanks for this
Thank
platform for
you.
Oh,
us
thank
to
you. Thanks for
tune
calling
in
in.
and talk about
Thank
the
you.
things.
Thank you for calling in. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
you so
Thank
much.
you so
All
much,
right.
Bocat.
You're welcome.
Bye
Bye-bye.
bye. I mean, we can go on and on.
I know.
It's so sad, Denise. It was so sad. It was so sad. And I was really heartbroken. And she just kind of told me this. But it was heartbreaking because she had every opportunity to do something great for herself. And she just did not have the family support and no one to take her. Like literally. No money, no way.
I don't. It again. It hurts my heart to find out these kids. We have kids who are kind of unique. Some of these kids are real smart, even at a 5-year-old. Some of the stuff they come out there. You know how they say this kid must have been here before. That comes stuff that comes out of their mouth sometimes, and it's just to me, it hurts me to the core to see some of these kids who are these miracle kids who these getting these masters at 14 years old, and
Mhm.
it's just
Yes, I mean it's so much going on, but we're not. It's this was a great show. I think we had a really great conversation. I thank you all for tuning in again tonight. This was wonderful. What you think?
it was good.
It was a great show.
So yeah.
We definitely got to do a part two. Definitely have to keep having this conversation. We're going to have some more conversations before the election because I really want to focus on, what we should be looking at and what I feel like it's so many people that don't know how an election actually works. What's the electoral college? What we're actually voting for? Why do our votes count? They don't know about your Senate, your Congress,
Right.
the difference between the two.
Congress.
They don't know about the judges that are
processes.
appointed for the different branches of government. They don't actually know how all of that works. And so I just really want us, we're going to have a conversation because I really want people to understand why it's so important. We talk about education and the importance of education and what we should be doing and what we want to see our kids to be learning in school. But all of those people play a part in that. I mean, those are things that play a part. We have people that want to dismantle the whole education system. Like we really have to talk about those things. And I really want us to talk about some of the issues that are going on, and I would love to hear all of your opinions. So thank you so very much. And this has been great. Schools don't teach it anymore. They don't teach cursive anymore. Schools don't teach cursive, and it's crazy that they don't.
The school system is failing us. I just say it. It really
Yes.
is.
So I want us to definitely have a conversation about it. Definitely going to do a show where we talk about just where we're at when it comes to the election, what's going on in the election, and just talk about how the whole legislative,
The
judicial,
system works.
executive branches work in the government. Because some people don't even know that we have 3 branches of government.
I know, right?
Just talk about that.
Maybe we can do a little
Yeah. So
PowerPoint.
yeah, so it's
PowerPoint.
something that we definitely need to talk about. Yes, Delta, definitely have another conversation, definitely a part
Part
2
two.
coming. So we also thank you so very much. We appreciate y'all. We appreciate each and every one of you. The Guardians won. Woohoo! So I just wanted to put that out there.
They had to win. They're
Yes.
just going home. So
Yes.
I
So
think it's 2-1.
yes,
New
well,
York
we
is up.
won. So all right, y'all. Good night.
Okay.
Till next time. Peace.